Come on, it'll be fun. We're gonna do a Halloween intro. Hi everyone. Come on. You can do it. Hi. Well, if you don't want to do the intro, that's fine. I'll do it by myself. Hi, I'm Tyler M. Holland, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is the spooky month of October, my favorite month, and that means we're doing witches. So let's get into it. Alright, so for today's rendering, I'm super excited. It's the witch from Into the Woods, specifically her final dress from The Last Midnight. So what I'm doing here is I'm starting with the underpainting like I do with everything else. And since our witch is of a deeper complexion, I'm starting with a lot of rich lilacs and salmons and oranges to really pop under the deeper browns that I'm going to add for her skin tone. So I'll just pop those in here. Enjoy the mesmerizing time-lapse process. Once the underpainting is complete, it's time to go in with as transparent a layer as you can of the skin tone itself. I'm using Mahogany and the Shinhan Touch markers. Different from Prismacolor, I use mostly Prismacolor for everything else, but the Shinhan Touch markers tend to have better, warmer browns than the Prismacolors do. The Prismacolors have more of a green base or blue base brown. I just find it works better for deeper complexions. Up next is the dress, which I want to be a champagne color under a black embroidered net. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting in Prismacolor's Cinnamon Toast with the brush tip pen. Very important. I love the brush tip markers. And I'm just layering that in as the base layer before I put the grays and blacks over top. So similar to underpainting skin tones, it's important to underpaint fabrics as well. So right now I'm just popping in the shadows with a cool gray before I go in with a wash of overall gray. Here's the overall wash of gray. This is going to be the base of our black net. It's going to read more like a smoky gray than black. I end up changing this a little bit later in the rendering because it just didn't read dark enough, but I wanted to have a ground to put the symbols on for the embroidered lace first. I'm moving on to the tulle fishtail skirt. These skirts are so much fun. I've actually done this in another design on stage, and the way it just swishes around on stage, being so light and airy but structural, is pretty amazing. The point of this is I'm going to ombre from black down through midnight blues into light blues, and that is going to symbolize midnight turning into dawn, which is part of the song. It is her last midnight. It is her last hurrah. She disappears at the end of this song, so I really wanted to drive home that symbolism. If you want to produce a really solid ombre in marker, know that you have to work as fast as possible while the markers are still wet. It's challenging. You should always do a sample because some markers play better with others. Some markers are wetter than others. Some markers help blend more. For this particular skirt, a flawless ombre wasn't necessary because it's so textured from the gathering of tools. So I just did a bunch of lateral strokes to try to help me blend color to color. Alright, so onto one of my most favorite tricks to do, rendering shiny patent black leather. The easiest way to describe this is to just lay down your darkest blacks first, note where your highlights are going to be, let the white of the page show under them, and then come back in with a few different versions of either cool gray or warm gray in the 70 to 80% range, and pop around those highlights. You want your highlights and your deepest darks to have a really, really sharp change between the two of them. That's what gives you that reflectivity. But you do want to also soften around the edges that curve around by using those close to black grays, if that makes any sense. I'll show you when I do the right hand glove. So this is the right hand glove. So what I've gone ahead and done is outline the whole thing in black, because on the edges, that's where you're going to see the black, the deepest black. You're also going to see the deepest black almost in the middle of the cylinder, if that makes sense. And you're going to have kind of two highlights on either side. Look up black patent leather gloves, black patent leather pants if you are struggling with this, and just copy the details there. I mean, that's what I do. Alright, finally this custom mystical embroidered lace. I went online and I found a bunch of demonic, satanic symbols, pagan symbols, that kind of thing to include in her dress. I wanted to kind of give that turn of the century spiritualism movement feeling to this dress. So I went in and I found them all and I copied them down onto the dress. I chose some places for it to be symmetrical and for the most part it to be completely asymmetrical. I'd love for this to be custom made in the real world. Obviously that would be very expensive. But to produce the idea of lace on a net, I'm using the micron pen because it gets the finest point and it allows me to actually get all of those tiny details in there. I'm going to end up going back over top of this dress with another layer, or actually a couple of layers, of deeper, darker, cool grays to really kind of blend the two together and make it look a little bit less like illustrated lines on a gray background. Here's some fun little almost like Terry Mugler inspired details. I don't know why, I just thought it would be fun for her to have some like hair and feathers hanging off the ends of this very elongated neckline of the bodice. I'm also adding in her horns and her upside down crescent moon crown, just again to push that witchy element. I don't know if you're like me, but hair has always been a challenge to render. The best advice I can give is pick a highlight color, a mid-tone color, and a deep tone color. Make sure that deep tone color has a fine tip to it, and lay down the highlight color first all over. Go back in with some small hair-like strokes in the mid-tone color, and then come back in with your deepest tone color and add in the individual strands that you see. Alright, like I told you, I wasn't happy with the color of the dress, with how light it was reading. It wasn't reading like the black mesh with the black lace on top. So I'm just going back in and adding in a deeper color of cool gray, as well as a deeper color of cool gray lowlights. Mess up, fix up. Now I'm moving on to my background. I love to do simple backgrounds, simple geometric backgrounds like this, so I'm just using literally a dessert plate, tracing a circle out, and I'm going to go in with some Fabri-Tac glue and gold leaf to create a minimal, beautiful, moon-like halo. The Fabri-Tac, that glue that they make for like gluing seams together on fabric if you don't want to sew. I've never had luck with it there, and I hate sewing. But it stays tacky for a lot longer than Elmer's glue, so I use it for gold leafing. Yes, they make a gold leafing glue. I think it's expensive, and I think it's a specialist glue when I already have Fabri-Tac for whatever reason. So I use this, and it's cheaper. Way, way, way cheaper. The trick with gold leaf is to lay your leaf sheets down as fast and as thin and as smoothly as possible, and then come back over with a makeup brush, that is the trick, and brush away everything that is not stuck to the glue. And there you have it, easy faux gold leafing. It's not the best example, but does it look cool? Absolutely. Alright, final details now. I'm coming in and adding some constellations with a white milk gel pen, and I just think it kind of helps enhance that night sky look of the tulle skirt. Also, always, while you have that gel pen out, pop in a little bit of highlight into the eye. It really gives life to it. Oh, and don't forget your signature. Sign your work. And there you have it. There you have it, our first witch of the season. Don't worry, there are 3 more because there are 3 more weekends in October. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you want to see more costume related content. Check out the past videos. Also comment on this one. Let me know what you thought. I guess I'll just sign off with the famous words of Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Unpleasant dreams. All right, I'll see you later. Bye.